If you're like me and away in your caravan for weeks at a time, how do you ensure that when you get back, it looks like this? And ensure that your grass isn't knee high and all your plants aren't dead. So you could pop next door and ask your neighbours if they come over and water the garden for you and cut the grass. But if it's hot like it is now, and it's more than a couple of days, then it's quite an imposition. So it wouldn't be fair. So what's the answer? The same as in industry. You automate. So let's see how you can automate your garden so that you can go away in your motorhome or caravan, enjoy yourself, and come back confident all is going to be fine. Number 1, robot lawnmowers, so that you come back to this and not this. At this point, I need to make a confession. The lawn looks pretty dead, not lush and beautiful. That's because it's been dry for several weeks now, and I don't water the lawn because it recovers when it rains. But I do water the other plants in the garden because they do not recover. I do care a lot about the environment, and the watering system that you'll see later on is very careful with its use of water. There's a Husqvarna Automower Nera without boundary wire. So it uses a GPS signal, and here is the antenna that gives it its accuracy of plus or minus 1 or 2 centimeters. This is incredibly energy efficient compared with a petrol mower, and of course it's all electric. And here it is leaving its feeding station to start mowing. You can see it's turning round and using the cutter at the back end to trim near to, oops, it's coming after me, to trim near to the edging. Incidentally, the eyes and moustache aren't standard. That's thanks to my son. And when it's done this lawn, it ducks under the fence and goes and does the front lawn. Before heading back home for tea. I bought my very first robot lawnmower in 2017. It was a Bosch Indigo 1000 Connect. I had to buy it from Germany because they weren't importing them to the UK at that time. But I then discovered they're actually made in the UK, which was a bit strange. Anyway, it gave 7 years of very good service, very reliable, except for the boundary wire, which sometimes gave problems. But when that failed, I decided to get another Bosch. And look what arrived. I thought it was going to be the same thing, but it was only a midget. And it wasn't up to the job. A little bit of dampness on the grass and it would get stuck. So it went back and I looked for another one. Because I'd had some problems with boundary wires, I was looking for a machine without a boundary wire and came across this one. This is a very clever machine that doesn't need a boundary wire or GPS. You just put it on the lawn and let it find out where it has to cut. It has a vision system connected to a neural network and spends the first day wandering around the grounds, working out where the edge of the lawn is, where obstacles are, and so on, and then gets on and cuts. It has the advantage that if plants grow over the edge of the borders during the season, it can see that and it just works its way around it. But regrettably, it wasn't reliable enough for my purposes. Maybe once a week it would get confused somewhere and get stuck. Now, if I was at home, I would just pick it up, pop it back in its charging station, and away it would go again. But if I was away in my caravan, it meant that I'd have to phone up my neighbour and beg them to go and pick it up and put it in the charging station. And it became a bit too much of an ask. So that mower went and I ended up with a Husqvarna, which so far, and I've had it for about 7 or 8 months, it's been absolutely reliable, and let's hope that continues. So caravanning and motorhoming without having to worry about the grass. And of course, there's an app that keeps you updated on how the mower is doing over your phone. The next automation that's necessary is an automatic watering system. The next thing you need is an automatic watering system to look after the flower tubs and borders with roses and the like. Here is the tap with one side going to the timer and this other side just going to a hose for filling watering cans if you need it. Then from here it goes to a distributor which distributes up to 6 hose lines. I'm just using 2 at the moment, and they go down here to a pressure reducing valve. Oops, there they are, 2 pressure reducing valves, so that you get constant pressure whatever the mains pressure is, because that fluctuates quite a lot. And the 2 lines go out. One line goes to all the tubs here and here and over here and round the front of the house, and they get watered for a short time every evening. And then the other line, as it switches to automatically, waters the roses and these beds twice a week. So the water is going directly to where it's needed. None of this sort of spraying hoses around the place, which is very wasteful. So this is the sort of watering system that is used in the Mediterranean and the Middle East for watering in very hot climates. This is the kind of drip feed used in pots, 1, 2 or 3, depending on the size of the pot. And this is the kind of drip feed that goes to the base of roses and shrubs directly from the large diameter pipe. And again, maybe 1, 2 or 3 drippers per shrub, depending on how big a plant it is. There are several manufacturers of such equipment, but I only use Gardena because I found it last for a long, long time. Step 3 is deadheading. If your garden's growing enthusiastically and you've probably got a lot of roses or similar shrubs because they're tough, then when you do get back, there'll be a lot of deadheading and similar to do. Most gardeners use secateurs, but I find it very slow and it's often difficult to get to the plants, either over other beds or up ladders. And I thought, surely somebody must have made an extendable secateur. I should go into business doing it. But I did a search on the internet, and lo and behold, somebody has made one. So I bought it, and it's brilliant. So you can automate the grass cutting, and you can automate the watering of all the shrubs and roses, but so far there's no robot to automate the deadheading of the roses. But this is the next best thing. This long stick and the clippers at the end, and you can see there's some red bits here which are grippers that hold on to the piece. So here we go. Pretty fast, isn't it? Very easy, and you can reach right up high without needing step ladders. Isn't it wonderful? You can see it's gripping it there, and you can turn this round so that you're coming at it at the right angle. And so you come back home from your wonderful caravanning week, and in moments you've pruned your roses. Isn't that clever? Called Dalek, and I'll put a link with the name in below the video, in the text below the video. So there's lots of prunings from your garden, and if you haven't got room for a compost heap, you take them to the recycling centre. We've got an excellent one here where you take the prunings, they compost them professionally, and then you can buy it back very cheaply in sacks. So pretty good deal. So if you've got stuff that you haven't taken to the centre, or you come back from a holiday and you have lots of prunings to do, what do you do with them? This is where these boxes come in. Let's look what's inside. In here are 2 large sacks, and this keeps it dry until you have time to take it down to the centre, because once they get wet they get very heavy and make a mess in your car when you take it down. So there's one, here's the other one, again sacks, and that's the size of the sack, just right to fit in the back of a car. Number 4, weed control. Another issue when being away from the garden a long time is weed control. And so in our garden we use a lot of bark chippings. And a good layer of that, replenished every couple of years, keeps the weeds down to a large extent. Now it can be quite expensive. We're fortunate that there's a sawmill near here, so we get 1 cubic metre bags delivered, and it's pretty cheap then. But even places like B&Q, if you go when there's an offer of 3 bags for whatever it is, it doesn't come too expensive. So now, with your automated garden, you can head off in your motorhome or caravan with confidence, not having to worry about what you might find when you get back home. Well, there you go.